No one?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 15th, 2024 legislative session of the Town of Ossining. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Councilmember Meyer,
Present.
Councilmember Manicchio,
Here.
Councilmember Jennifer Fields Stillwell,
Here.
Councilmember Matt Weiss,
Present.
and Supervisor Feldman. Okay, we have supervisor and town board announcements.
Sure. Early voting for upcoming elections begins next Saturday, October 26th at the Joseph G. Caputo Community Center in Ossining, and many other locations. More information about dates and times is posted on the town Facebook page and in my supervisor's update. The Hope Store Advisory Council is hosting a hopeful evening in observance of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This event is to fundraise in order to help fight against domestic violence and protect our community. It will be held on October 16th at 6 p.m. For more information, please visit the Hope Store website or Facebook page. The Community Center, in collaboration with Westchester Collaborative Theater, will be running The Haunted Kill on Friday, October 18th, from 6 to 10 p.m. The attractions include the Trail of Terror and live music. On Saturday, October 19th at 10 a.m., the rec department is having a pet parade. Come dressed up in costume with your dog, starting at Lewis Ingle Park and concluding in Henry Gordine Park. On Sunday, October 20th, the Westchester County Department of Emergency Services will be hosting the Fallen Firefighters Memorial Service at 10 a.m. at the Training Center in Valhalla. Sustainable Westchester will be hosting a Westchester Power Information Session on October 21st at 12 noon and 7 p.m. on Google Meet. Scan the QR code on my supervisor's update or visit their website to register. Westchester Collaborative Theater is presenting Terror Tales. The short story play festival will begin on the weekend of October 25th at 8 p.m. For more information, please visit wcttheater.org. The Community Center will be hosting a Special Needs Kids Halloween Night Out on October 30th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Crafts, snacks, and games for the children and their caretakers. That's always fun. As always, our Ossining Public Library will be hosting a bevy of events, including movies, craft events, meditation, tutoring, yoga, book clubs, and more. See their website, ossininglibrary.org, for more information. I'd like to shout out the Loft Community Center for all of the events and programming resources they have dedicated to providing support to everyone who's a part of the LGBTQ+ community. Please check out their website at loftgaycenter.org for more information. Next week's legislative meeting will be held here at 16 Croton Avenue. Please don't forget. And there are many more fun and interesting things being held locally. Please check out the supervisor's weekly update on the webpage to see them. Thank you. Anybody have anything else? Okay, great. Thank you.
Is there anybody from the public who would like to comment on any of the agenda items? Okay, seeing no one, board resolutions, finance audit, Town of Ossining 2023. Resolved that the town board of the Town of Ossining hereby acknowledges that in accordance with section 35 of the General Municipal Law, the 2023 audit of the Town of Ossining financial statements and supplementary information and 2023 statement of cash receipts, cash disbursements, and cash balances for the town justice court have been distributed to and reviewed by the town board, and said report shall be on file with the office of the town clerk. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just on an extra side note, the audit is also going to be available on the WW Town of Ossining webpage. Request for bids, Meals for the Elderly Nutrition Program. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austining hereby issues a request for bids for the preparation of meals for the elderly nutrition program and related supplies, with proposals due back to the office of the town clerk by 10 a.m. on Friday, November 1st, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Personnel, appointment, town court, intermediate clerk. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austining appoints Patsy Marocho, Hopewell Junction, to the part-time position of intermediate clerk in the town court, 17.5 hours per week, $18 per hour, effective October 15, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Local fiscal recovery funds from the U.S. Department of Treasury, ARPA. Whereas the United States Congress passed the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, ARPA, which legislation was subsequently signed by the President Biden, and whereas Section 603 of the ARPA provides for financial assistance for counties, cities, and non-entitlement units of local government for eligible expenses in accordance with the final rule issued by the U.S. Treasury Department. And whereas the town received $568,203.42 in ARPA funding. And whereas the Treasury Department issued guidance on how the non-entitlement units can utilize the funding, which funding can be obligated by the end of 2024 and be spent by the end of 2026. Now therefore be it resolved that the town, okay, thank you. That the Board of Trustees hereby obligates American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds, coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds for the U.S. Department of Treasury in a total amount of $568,203.42 to the purpose of a new multi-sport court area capital project at Ryder Park. And be it further resolved that the town comptroller and deputy comptroller are directed to complete all necessary and required reporting and documentation under the revenue loss category to comply with the American Rescue Plan Act. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Finance Capital Project number 2024-5260, 2024 Ryder Park, Multi-Sport Court Parks. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austining authorizes opening a 2024 capital project number 2024-5260 entitled 2024 Ryder Park Multi-Sport Court for the Parks Department to create a new multi-sport court and tennis court fence with a project budget of $575,105. The project will be funded from the ARPA funds received under the lost revenue category and a transfer from general fund balance. And can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody for visitor recognition that would like to address the board on issues not relating to the agenda but are relevant to the common good of the town? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to adjourn to work session?
So moved.
Second. Aye.
And first up, we're gonna be having for a work session, a presentation from Project Mover from Bryn. Hello? Bryn, can you hear us?
I can. Sorry about that. I was working on the audio settings on my end. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for inviting me to speak in front of you this evening and for your interest in Project Mover. We wanted to just provide a little bit of background on what this is all about and what kind of our next steps are before asking anything of you as the town board members. So I've been working with Martha over the last year and a half, 2 years or so related to Project Mover, which is a multi-part grant program funded by NYSERDA, the New York State Research and Development Agency, as part of their Clean Transportation Prize program. And its goal is to really bring affordable and convenient e-bikes to the Rivertown area to help offer new modes of transportation to people who need to get up and down the hills, get to the train station, get to the grocery store, their medical appointments, and just around town, however they want. And the components of the program include a bike share program that recently launched in the village of Austining and had a ribbon cutting last week. It includes a rebate program to offer vouchers at point of sale for e-bikes from local retailers. That program has yet to launch. And then there will also be a bike library program. So folks who want to rent a bike for longer than typical bike share ride can do so. The program that I wanted to talk to you about today and really focus on is that e-bike share program. In the village of Ossining, there are multiple docking stations that are now located across town and 50 bikes in operation on a daily basis. Since it launched as a soft launch at the end of August, there's been close to 1,000 miles ridden on these e-bikes, over 730 trips taken as of the end of September. The average trip length is just over a mile, and there are more than 400 individuals who have signed up on the app to use these e-bikes. It's really serving as this opportunity to take first and last mile trips across the village and to nearby areas and really supporting people's quality of life on a daily basis. The next step is to really think about how this program expands into surrounding communities. And as a near neighbor of the village, the town of Ossining is one of the places that we're thinking of. And the town of Ossining is also a stated partner within this Project Mover grant program. It is part of this electric micromobility incubator program that is kind of helmed by the village as the guinea pig and who's working on the pilots of all of these programs, and then meant to replicate in the town of Ossining, the village of Croton-on-Hudson, Sleepy Hollow, Tarrytown, and also Dobbs Ferry. So as part of the grant program itself, there's a couple of administrative milestones and goalposts we have to pass in order to get to this next step. And there's a little bit of a time pressure on that because we have to get past these milestones in order for NYSERDA to release the funding to buy the bikes and the docking stations that would be part of this expansion. And that has a little bit of a runway to it because the bikes themselves have to get manufactured and shipped to town, which we're expecting to be about a 6-month time frame between putting in that purchase order and having the bikes here and ready to deploy. So to get past this milestone and be able to have that funding, there are a couple of things that NYSERDA wants to see in terms of a kind of proven commitment that the town is excited about this opportunity to have bike share, to be able for their residents to use this, and I guess prove that they're ready and willing to do that. And we've laid these out to Martha and to her counterparts in Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow and Dobbs Ferry and Croton. But it's really 3 things. It's a letter of intent where we have a template already drafted that just says that the town is looking forward to and willing to engage with the Project Mover team to understand where bike share locations would be, where it might need site agreements to access publicly held land or privately held land, and that you're willing to continue this planning process with the team. Right now, it doesn't commit you to anything. It's just that letter of intent that in the future, there will be these site agreements. There's also a map of where these bike share locations might be. And we've done some work thinking through the points of interest in the town compared to the village, where people want to go on these bikes and have access to them. We looked at some of those operational details related to bike share stations. We don't want to locate them in places where it's hard to get to. It might flood, there might be construction, there might be some sort of trouble accessing cell internet and you're not able to have the bikes unlock virtually. Those kinds of things we've thought through when proposing this map of potential station locations, and Martha has those and I think has already shared them with you. And then the third item is some feedback on a map we've also made of neighborhood greenways through the town of Ossining. So these are these roads that we'd recommend people would bike on because they are lower speeds, lower volumes, more comfortable for people, and present fewer conflicts if you're on a bicycle. So we'd love your thoughts on how those are chosen and what streets are identified on those. I think the last thing I'll say before asking for your feedback is that, as I mentioned, we have this little time pressure, and to be able to have bikes ready next spring, summer for deployment in the village of Ossining, we'd have to submit the purchase order this year. And we'd like to have these milestones for NYSERDA for review in November, and as early in November as we can get is ideal. So Martha, did I miss anything, or is there anything else you want me to add?
Thank you so much, Bren. Yes, you touched on all the stuff that I had to discuss as well. Thank you.
Sure.
Are you able to share a map of the possible locations? I think the board's gonna wanna see them.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that very well.
Are you able to share a map of the possible locations? On the screen?
Sure. Give me 1 second to pull it up on my screen and then share it with you on screen. Okay. Okay, so we have this as a Google map, and I can also get the link to you in Zoom, and Martha can share it later. But what's in here is obviously a map of the town of Ossining and the village of Ossining. These little symbols are where the existing stations are throughout the village of Ossining. And then there are other points here for ideas of where new stations in the town could be located. So there
Can
are,
you scroll in on those?
can I zoom in on those? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Sure. So we
Right.
have 3 ideas of primary candidates, ones that we think are the better locations to serve based on some of those geometric and operational factors, as well as our thoughts on kind of demand for access in these locations. One is on North State Road near this congregation of restaurants at Blue Lantern Road. One is by Ryder Park, where we've heard a lot of requests in previous outreach events for bike share location ideas. And then one is out on Pines Bridge Road by the Mary Knoll location.
Which I actually really like that one because I think the priests would like to go for a ride sometimes. A lot of them are coming from countries that, no, they were also proposing possibly, there's some possible locations. There's a possible one by Club Fit, and there's a,
Correct.
ideally we could put one at Cedar Lane, but we don't have cell service there. We don't have Wi-Fi there, so.
There's one, Bill, so the conference center. Yeah.
I don't know if it was exactly the conference center.
I think yeah, it was one of I think that's the one that was like a question mark. So just just to summarize the memo a little bit quickly, that was shared with you guys. So one of the main locations is the primary locations has been Ryder Park, followed up by North State Road near Blue Lantern Road. And the third site has been Mary Knoll. Then the secondary locations, and these locations we would have to work with partner because these are considered private property. It would be Club Fit in Briarcliff, the Cortonville Conference Center, and the Central Westchester Business Park. And then I believe the Central Lane Town Park is the one that's asterisk, because like you said, there's no Wi-Fi there, so there'd be no way to release the bikes. So those would be like our secondary locations, should we be interested in exploring how we could get the bikes there. But our main focus currently has been, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bran, has been Ryder Park, North State Road near Blue Lantern Road, and Marino. Those have been our three main sites, so like most likely that the bikes can go there.
Is the business park where Ossining headquarters, administrative headquarters are? Is that what that is? What's the Central Westchester Business Park? Is that?
Executive.
It is off Stormy Town Road.
Yes, but yeah, okay, yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I'm talking about. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and we're definitely open to feedback on these locations. These were just our initial thoughts based on some experience doing planning for the village of Ossining, and where different residents and stakeholders said they'd like to also go, where we've heard from Martha herself, and where we've done some I guess field research to look at locations and think through the dimensions. But as part of this next step, this letter of intent, we don't have to nail down the specific locations just yet. It's just more of a statement on behalf of the town saying that we are working towards the final locations. We're committed to eventually having agreements allowing this use of the public right of way or an easement onto public property for bike share usage and operations.
We wouldn't be locked into a specific number.
Correct. Yeah.
Do we
And-
know? Sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
And I think, you know, all of us know some business owners, you know, along the corridors. So we were just wondering what the responsibility of a business would be, or liability of a business would be, should they choose to have one on their property.
Yeah, that is a great question. I would direct you to the operator itself to answer those questions. And we have examples of this site agreement from the village of Ossining that we could also share, but I will relay that question to our partners at Shared Mobility and Drop Mobility, who are the kind of day-to-day operations team for the bike share, to answer that specific question about liability and insurance.
How can we find out what the possible cost to the town this project would be?
Yeah, that is a great question. The way that we're looking at it and designing the costs is that throughout the grant period, there's no cost to the town of Ossining. And we're working to establish sponsorships to keep that ongoing operations managed in part, so that there is no obligation from the town or the village to pay into the system at all.
So right now, to date, the village has not needed to use any of their own funds to operate.
Correct.
And yeah, I think that the only thing that the village did was basically set up the little concrete areas where the bikes are set. That's what the DPW team did. To my understanding, that's all that's been done. And then they also had the different site agreements, which is, you know, the workload and paper load that we'd have to do. But other than that, yes, we've been told, like Brenda said, like this is to no additional cost to the town or the village. And like Brenda said, they have been working once the grant money kind of expires, how to move forward from there. And that would be the introduction of the sponsorships as well.
All right, so during the pilot program,
Mhm.
which we signed on to a while ago. Okay. And what you need from us now is us to sign a letter of intent. So what I'm gonna be asking the board for is, you know, kind of a general direction that we do wanna follow the village. I was kind of hoping to watch them for a little longer, but we're good in my mind.
Yeah, I think we should move forward with it. I agree.
Any other questions? Anybody?
I'm gonna support the project, but I am hesitant to really have a clear picture of how much it's gonna be used in town, on town property, as opposed to the usability in the village. It's very, very different, looks very different. But if there's no cost, then we have nothing to
Worth a
lose.
shot, yeah, yeah.
From my mind, I think that we have some parks that are heavily utilized by a population that doesn't have access to a car. I see a lot of people when I go to Cedar Lane getting dropped off by taxis, getting picked up by friends, waiting for rides. This might be a way that, you know, somebody could get there if we had a station where they could stop getting charged. We'd have to look at the, and Gerlach Park is the same. There's a lot of, different fields and ball fields and soccer fields and baseball games and things that people might want to be able to get to.
You said the
So-
only thing that holds us back from Cedar Lane is there's no Wi-Fi?
Right,
Mhm.
so maybe we can create a hotspot or something over by the art center and a station over there that people can walk around the park from there. You know, we'd have to look into that because to me, that's one of the main locations that we would want. As far as access for our populations and. Oh, and then we have the community garden there too, and they like to be green, so.
Yeah.
A lot of people in Cedar Lane like to be, you know, I think would benefit.
Is there Wi-Fi at Gerlach?
I'm gonna go with no, but Cedar Lane truly has no signal,
Okay,
like no regular signal. It's in a little valley.
all right, we can work on
You're,
it.
you're driving through your phone calls drop off.
Got it.
Matt, do you have any questions? Okay,
Okay, so
thank you.
thank you, Bryn. So, I guess our next step would be here to get the letter of intent signed and mailed out to you guys. I know you said that there was a deadline of next week, correct, Bryn, to get that to you guys back?
Ideally, yes, it would be by October 25th. But there is I'm sure a few days of wiggle room in there.
Sure. Okay, yeah. So, we'll work on trying to get that to you, either later this week or earlier next week. And then from there, we'll move on. And like, this would be once we start actually, you know, like Bryn was talking about, this was just to get the bikes ordered and it's gonna be 6 months out before they get here. So we still have a nice little time cushion to basically review, see where we actually want to put the bikes, and then set up working on those site agreements so we can get the bikes there. So definitely this is going to be brought up at another work session to present, to get the finalized locations where we think that the bikes would be a perfect fit. And of course, we would be relating this information back to Bryn and her team as well.
All right, one more question. They're not out during the winter, correct? So at what
Correct.
point do they come back? They get brought in?
There is a little bit of flexibility each year in when the bikes are taken out of service for the season. That's in part because we want the bikes to be out as long as possible before it gets too cold or there needs to be snow plows out and everything. I believe that the village of Ossining is expecting to end the season in November, but I don't know the exact date.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bryn.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. So on to our next topic. We have a preliminary discussion for our 2025 fee schedule. As you all know, we are currently in our budget season, with our round 2 budget meetings occurring next week. And one of the discussions that was up and coming again, as in prior years, has been updating our town fee schedule for 2025. So we're just going to be preliminary discussing, kind of getting your feedback on whether or not you agree with these changes. Again, this is part 1 of 2 or 3 work session meetings that we're probably going to be having on this to discuss. So just give me 1 second to share.
Which means we're not tackling the event schedule, the event fee schedule just yet. We're gonna have bigger conversations with Bill and have him to discuss. These are easier.
While Martha is bringing it up, there was one comment that I just had, I wanted to make. I don't feel incredibly comfortable with cross-referencing to the village's fee schedule. If we want to copy and paste what the village has in their fee schedule into the towns, that's one thing. But that means that the village could change their fee schedule and we would never know about it. And then that's not necessarily, it may not be something that's conducive to what the town board would prefer. I understand that there's overlap in, there's overlap in resources and departments, and that for the most part, these things are often the same. But I would rather it just be a copy and paste of what's in the village's fee schedule. And then maybe just ask the clerk to notify the town board if and when the village makes any changes. That's just my personal recommendation.
Okay, the two places we were considering doing that, since we do not have a taxi company of our own or a tow company of our own.
But we
Yeah,
do
incorporate.
enter into agreements with the taxi.
I think that Sue was saying that that was just specifically for the taxi cab couponing. She said that wasn't necessarily an agreement.
So then we
To
should just
use 'em, yeah.
eliminate it altogether. Either
Also an option.
if it's not something that the town does, then we don't need it. And so it might be more efficient to just remove it. But I don't feel comfortable having the town board be beholden to whatever the village board may decide to do if the town board is not going to be necessarily made aware of that. That's not that the
Right,
village
yeah.
board would do anything that's not in the best interest of their
It wouldn't
constituents,
occur.
but I, you know, things change, time goes on. And it could be something that gets overlooked in the future. So I understand for efficiency purposes, it may be easier. But, you know, if we don't have taxi cabs and limousines, and if we don't have towing companies, then let's just get rid of it.
Not to say we won't. So we'll have to decide if we want to just copy and paste what the village has. Should one of our businesses like to include a cab or a tow truck or something from one of our, we do have a bunch of mechanic shops and body shops that may at one point decide to get a tow truck. I don't know. So
I mean, most of
thoughts
the
on
times the
we
tow
should
truck,
get rid of it or thoughts
tow
we
truck
should-
services are mostly called by the police department, right?
Right, well, that has to
Circumstances.
do only with them being called to the
That's it.
police
So
department.
this is only per day, if a impound or whatever.
Right.
We're never calling ourselves on towing companies.
Well, the village police department on behalf of the town would be called,
Gotcha.
so,
That would be a cut and paste, I think that would probably.
so cut that one.
Cut and
okay.
paste for that one.
So hold on one second, just to run. So that would be on page 11, would be the towing services agreement. So you're saying to just copy and paste that directly from the village. Okay,
Simply share police departments and they're doing most of the calling.
got it. And then the one for the taxi cab companies, that would be found on page 9 to 10. And yeah, so this would be like the fares and stuff like that. But like I said, that's mainly been run by the village. So again, if you guys want to copy and paste from the village, or if you guys would just want to get rid of it once.
I'm okay with getting rid of it.
Yeah, but I think that makes the most sense. We could always add it back in.
Yeah.
And that is an important point because it's in the fee schedule. All it would require is a resolution. It's not something that you would have to do by local law or anything like that.
But does that mean that any, a taxi cab company could open in the unincorporated area and just start charging whatever they want? Should we not have it in our fee schedule? I'm just asking.
They would have to get a license, right?
They would have to
We
get a
keep it.
license
It,
and they'd have to go to the town clerk.
it wouldn't be eliminating chapter 182 of the code, which regulates taxi cabs and limousines. It's just whether or not, if there's a need for it, then absolutely, or the potential need for it in the future, it should absolutely stay. My recommendation, like I'm saying, is just that I don't think it should be a carte blanche. Whatever the village is doing, the town will be doing.
All right, I think we should copy and paste both of them,
Copy and paste.
just because.
Okay, well, starting back on page 1 then. Okay, so let me just go back up here. Okay, so one of the discussions that we had was on page 3 that we needed your opinion on. It was for the cabarets. So right now our annual license fee is at $200. It has been proposed during our discussions to possibly increase it to $300.
The village is 500?
The village has different levels. So depending on what kind of liquor you're serving, they pay a different rate. So versus soft liquor, no liquor, hard liquor, they pay different rates. We just have had a set rate of $200. So this would be a change of $100 to $300, with the idea of kind of getting rid of the after July 1st $100 fee. Because what the clerk was talking about was basically if you come in July, by the time you get your permit and everything, you go through us, it's mostly the end of the year, maybe just having that hold on to the next year. Because we do have to hold public hearings, et cetera, so it takes us a while compared to like the village. And then there was also the idea of getting rid of the renewal application 30-day extension of $5 per month. Because at that point, we've kind of, if you are going to be reapplying for your permit for your cabaret, you should do it in a timely fashion. And it should be done by January, at least get the application to the clerk's office.
All cabaret licenses run on a calendar year.
Mhm.
January
Yes.
to December.
Yes.
So no matter when you sign up, it's gonna run through February. So if you sign up in March, you're still gonna pay the whole year, $300.
Yes, $300.
Right, and
No.
we had it
mm-mm.
prorated after July 1st, but we're saying just whenever you get it, it's $300,
Mhm.
even if it's for a portion of the year. So get
Mhm.
it done in January.
So so by eliminating the 30-day extension fee, we're just saying you have to get it or.
Yeah, you
or
have to
just-
get it,
or
yeah.
You lose it during that time period and then you have to start over. Okay. Yeah,
Mm.
I agree.
300? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sliding down here, so for the credit card fees, the finance department and working with the clerk's office has really been trying to get our credit card machines up and working. So online, there's gonna be a 3% transaction fee for any debit or credit card use. In the office, they're currently in the process of changing vendors. I don't know exactly where they're at, but the goal is by the beginning of next year, they're going to be up and set with these new credit card machines in the office. And with these new machines, in-office transactions are actually going to be 3.1%. On credit card, as we use mostly Seamless, it has mainly been just at 3% with them.
I'm just confused why the need for 3 versus 3.1. Why can't they both be 3?
There are two, I know, I was speaking to the clerk this morning and there are two different vendors that are being used. So one is called Avalon, and then the other one is a new company that's being used for the physical credit card machines.
Ah,
So there are two different vendors and these two different vendors are holding two different rates.
uh-huh.
Yeah,
So we're just passing the cost on to.
yes, onto the
We're not
resident.
getting
No,
anything.
we're not getting anything out of it. So it's basically if you,
Alright.
yeah,
No, that makes sense.
yeah. I know, I know.
Are we trying to get 0.1%?
0.1%, yeah.
I mean, if that's what it's gonna cost us, then that cost should be,
Mhm.
Conveyed, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so
passed on.
yes, okay, so we'll put that in. The next follow-up can be found on page 4, and this has been a request by our clerk for all non-resident use of the Cedar Lane and Ryder dog parks to be just set equally at $25 per dog. There would be no additional $10 for any additional dog. You just set it at 25 for any number of dogs that you sign up,
For each dog,
for each dog that you have.
or for all dogs.
For each dog, so you'd be paying $25 per dog. So
I'm
basically.
getting
Yes, and
For
again,
non-resident,
this is for
just
non-residents.
remembering that, when you do license your dog, you get an automatic pass to dog park if you are a resident. This is only for non-residents.
Can we put in there $25 per dog?
Sure.
Because I don't think that's clear. I think the way it's currently worded, it may look like that it's just one fee per resident or
Yeah.
Okay.
non-resident as the case may be.
And definition of non-resident is non-town of Austin.
Correct.
Including the villages.
I'm saying that.
Yes.
So anybody that's within the town of Austin, you're a resident.
Yes, correct.
I have to ask a question because there's quite a number of people that live down Cedar Lane that are considered town of Newcastle. but their children go to Ossining School District. So,
Wherever
Are
your
you
dog is
including the-
registered.
okay,
Yeah, it just goes to the end of the day. Like if you registered it with our clerk's office, then that means that you're a resident. If you don't register your dog with us, then you're considered an outside resident.
I actually
Oh,
think we
okay.
need to check on Briarcliff because we don't register Briarcliff dogs.
No, we do not.
So we need to see if Sue would like them to register as non-residents or what.
That is a very good question. Like I said, they register their own dogs. I can make
So
a
we're
note
not
of
getting
that.
a fee from them.
No, we
Right,
are not
that's what
getting a
I'm saying
fee.
is, let's check and I know Sue had a formula for what she wanted to do with that. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Yeah, like I said,
I
because
think we were
Mhm.
talking that we would just include the Briarcliff residents, but I'd like to hear Sue's thoughts on that.
Next up, we are in our food scraps recycling program. So just to give kind of you guys like a background on this, we are going to be moving from using PayPal. The PayPal account that we've had has given us a headache and a half. The past couple of months, we've been kicked out, we've been logged in, we've been kicked out, and it has been a complete another nightmare. So the clerk's office has managed to get us an extra license for Seamless Docs, which is the software program that they use to have the cabarets or that's the birth certificates for people to be able to sign up and get them online and actually pay directly online to get them. So we, over the next couple of months, we're really going to be working side us with T-Town to kind of update the website so it could be directly through Seamless Docs. Due to that, we do have to update the fee schedule. So we are going to be, you're still going to remain the $20 if you're going to be paying by check. When you're going to sign up, you're going to have the ability to let us know, are you going to be paying by credit card or you're going to be paying in person? And that would be directly with Marcus, either at Cedar Lane Park or at the farmer's market. The follow-up to that is right now they had set it at $21 to cover the convenience fee of PayPal. That's what it had been set as. But like, as I mentioned before, since we'll be moving on to Seamless Docs, you would just be, if you're going to be paying online, it would be the 20% plus that 3% credit card / debit card fee.
So just to go back to the dog registration for a second, while Martha's getting herself together. The code current, like, not the fee schedule, but the actual code itself. Includes, it states that the unincorporated town, the village of Ossining, and the portion of Briarcliff Manor that's in the town are in charge for registering their dogs. For the dog parks. And non-residents is pretty much anyone outside of that category. So if the clerk had a
We did
recommendation
include them.
to change that, that would have to be a local law. Not
Okay.
just amending the fee schedule.
All right, no, so we did include them.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be sure.
I called that from when we did the local law a few years ago.
Okay, good.
Okay, so Briarcliff Manor people get free.
Briarcliff
Dog
Manor, Town of Austin.
Town of Austin, Briarcliff
It's
Manor.
anyone in the entire town, including the incorporated villages.
I understand what you're saying, Jen. We've got Spring Valley Road right there.
Yeah, right
Closer
there,
than
right
that.
there. No, it's literally,
So, it's where do you draw the line?
technically the dog park is in Newcastle.
Okay, so back to the food scraps. So that's basically what we were gonna be setting it as, and we'll just do the additional 3% if you're gonna be paying on Seamless Docs.
Okay.
And we're slowly gonna be, like I said, our hope is to get that up and running by January 1st, and by that time, this will be up and rolling with the fee schedule. Page 6 is regarding our parks and our events. Like I said, that's gonna be a secondary discussion that we're gonna be bringing to the town board in November. And then we pretty much discussed page 9 regards to the taxis, and the taxi cabs and licenses. We're gonna be copying and pasting from what the village has the fee rate, so we'll be able to keep that. Also the other thing, an update, that's gonna be done, we had, we had not changed the $4.75 per coupon. It's actually $6. That's the current rate, so we're gonna be updating it, to reflect it correctly. And then the only other thing is we had page 11, which was the tow trucks. Again, we're just gonna copy and paste on what's on the village fee schedule. And that's all, that's it. That is it. I only had 2 call to text.
Good.
Any questions or concerns or anything else that you guys would like to perhaps take a look at for the fee schedule for 2025?
We'll pick it apart later.
Yeah, like I said, this is just preliminary discussion and there will be another follow-up discussion also on how we're gonna be charging for events.
We decide the fee schedule in a. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, each department, if Pete has suggestions for the cemetery, if the building department has suggestions for their fees, they will come to us, the department head will come to us with the suggestions generally.
Okay, so that is the discussion for the fee schedule. Our next up is a presentation on Recycle Coach. Let me just get that up.
That person or recording? Okay, it's you.
Mhm.
Your poor boys.
I'll double duty today. Okay, just get this up and running. Okay, so, there we go. Okay, so we have our Recycle Coach. That is going to be our new app that we're going to be moving up so people can know when their garbage pickup is as well as when the recycling pickup is going to be. So right now we currently have Recycle Right. The last day to have the Recycling Right app is going to be November 4th, 2024. After that, it is no longer going to be working for anybody in Westchester. And Sustainable Westchester has been working with the Westchester County's Department of Environmental Facilities to transition us to Recycle Coach, which is the free app that's being provided by the county to all residents. And Recycling Coach is a free mobile app that makes recycling and solid waste information more accessible to county residents and visitors. So if you actually log into your Recycle Right app right now, the first thing that's gonna pop up is letting you know that the app is gonna be ending as of November 4th. I actually opened this up today and that's what immediately showed up on my phone. So just so everybody knows that the news and that it's closing, is going out there. So the whole idea with Recycling Coach is that it's going to connect users with their municipal collection, schedule, share local disposal and recycling information. And it's also going to provide users with educational tools to help make it easier to recycle products. One of the most popular things that they have is that you can take a picture of the object and by the image, it's going to be able to tell you what you need to do to dispose of it. And if you want to know more information about exactly how this works and what kind of different things that you can get from it, you can always visit www.recyclecoach.com. So, over the past 2 months, the Highway Department and the Supervisor's Office has been moving our sanitation schedule to Recycle Coach. I really want to hand out a big thanks to Diana at Highway. She's been really working with me on this. And we are ready to launch our app officially as of October 2024. We are launching it earlier than that November 4th date because we want to ask residents to get feedback from them. So should the app for whatever reason not be working, we have that week and a half to kind of get it together so, people can still use the Recycle Right app and not fully move to Recycle Coach. So that gives us a little bit of time. So we really are asking residents to give us feedback and make sure that, all the information is on Recycle Coach is what it says it's supposed to be for our different zones. We are currently working tomorrow with the county to double check one more time that all our information is on there so it can be as correct as possible. But as we know, when we move over to new software, there's always 1 or 2 things that glitches. So we're just going to be double checking everything as well. This is kind of the promo that we're going to be putting out on social media, letting people know that we're going live as of the 28th. Kind of giving a brief summary about Recycle Coach and the fact that the county is providing it to us for free, as well as the QR code letting you know where you can download the app. And an idea that Diana had been putting out there's maybe including that when we print out the sanitation schedules is to print it out actually on the sanitation schedule to let people know like, hey, you got the paper version, but if you want to try out and use the app, please feel free to download. So that's an idea that she's going to be working on for possibly next year. So what we're asking residents and everybody to do is to download the app and sign up for it as of October 28, 2024. So again, if you're gonna be on an Android device, just scan the code and it's gonna take you to the Google Play, Apple device and the App Store. You can just scan it to get there. So the first thing is you're gonna open up the app. It's basically gonna say, hello, welcome, and you're gonna go in and create an account. And then when you look up Austining, you're gonna click again, if you're a Town of Austining resident, click Town of Austining, Village of Austining, Village resident. And then it also offers you the ability to invite other people from your family to also join in on the app. So that way you're not the only one that's checking when your garbage is getting picked up. Somebody else can also get that information. And then it's gonna ask you if you want to get notifications. If you feel free, please allow. That way you get the most up-to-date recent information as to when your garbage is going to be picked up. It also gives you the ability, if for holidays or if anything, snowstorms, etc., were to happen, it will provide you that updated information. And then you are all set, and you'll get to have fun and explore and have fun using the app. The other idea thing that we're going to be posting is we're going to be putting it on the web page under publications, under waste and recycling collection calendar. We're going to be, as of October 28, we're going to be putting a web widget for the online module. So basically you'll be able, if you don't download the app and you don't want to download it, you just want to go on the town website, you'll be able to punch in your address and look it up that way as well. And this is kind of like a preview, kind of how the county has it. I'm not sure, but I think it's way too small to see. How the county has it, and you can just look up how you want to dispose of something where you're not inclined to download the app on your phone. Any questions? Concerns?
No, very nice presentation.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so me and Diana have been given admin access to it. So as of right now, like I checked this morning, it has like 0 because it's only me and Diana on it right now. But we're hoping that, come the 28th, we're really going to be seeing the numbers spike up. And like I said, if you're using the Recycle Right app, it's sending notifications already to let people know, like, hey, the app is going to be done as of November 4th. Yeah, so I encourage everybody to sign up and be ready to roll by October 28th. And let's hope that this works out very well for everybody.
I have no questions. And you've been putting a lot of hard work into this, so I appreciate all the research and work that you and Diana have been doing to make sure that the roads are right and the streets are right.
Crossing our T's and dotting our I's, that's what we're doing, making sure.
If somebody goes on to the town website and puts a village address in or a Briarcliff address in, presuming that both the municipalities also are using this app,
It will tell you, like, so like as of right now, like, because we're 2 different municipalities, the village has to go on their own to sign up for the app. I don't exactly know where they're at with getting signed up. I do know that the Recycle Right app was actually supposed to expire as of October 26th. They've added an extra couple of days to basically shut it down. So other municipalities are kind of trying to get on board to get it as soon as possible. I don't know exactly where the village is at right now with theirs, but if you look into the town of Austining, you'll be able to look up your address.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Good. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Our next meeting will be here October 22nd. Thank you. I always think I'm going to say it wrong. Okay, October 22nd, 16 Croton. Be here, be square now. Yes?
And also just a reminder that we do not have a meeting on the 29th, correct?
We do not have a meeting on the 29th.
But you can come.
And neither on election day. Or not, yes, we're off for 2 weeks after our
Okay.
next session.
So the 22nd is the time to be here.
Yes.
And do not forget that early voting starts next week.
And also our budget meetings with our town board and our department heads is also going to be starting next week here at 6 in Croton on the 3rd floor. Can I have a motion to adjourn to executive session for
Advice of counsel, pending litigation, contracts? Do you have anything?
personnel, I guess? Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Give me a second.